What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's Albert I here, your Tech and Games Crusader, and it's been a long time on this product coverage just because, well, frankly, it's not really for me in the state that it's currently in. So, what this is, just to give you an idea, it's the Pimax Portal QLED. It's a 256 gigabyte model. It's had some updates and things done to it. And then I've also got the Pimax Portal View Pro headset and the Pimax basic design Qualcomm VR controllers for mounting the Portal wireless controllers in. So I'm going to speak on what the detriments are to this product, as well as improvements that could be made to give it a better functionality and a better fit and feel for use. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. This is a product I did crowdfund and back, but this was sent to me for being able to do testing for Android development on, as well as being able to get some testing done on functionality and performance usage that does not involve emulation, because I don't give two books or two shakes about emulation as much as I do about Android performance and functionality for Android games and development and for VR purposes. When this product was originally announced, it was branded as the Portal from Pimax, which already there was a product on the market that shared the same naming. Now there's two additional products. So originally Meta, aka Facebook, had their Portal, which was a device that connected TV to give you access to Meta services or Facebook and Instagram on your TV. So Pimax last November brought out their own Portal, and it was branded as the MES, aka the Metaverse Entertainment System. And it was a product suite that had the ability to use, you have a handheld, as well as you have a headset, as well as you have a TV dock, as well as you have a larger screen dock. So it covered product ranges from being able to cover, emulation was one of the last products that was functionally offered, but became their primary selling point, I should say, on the Pimax Portal system. It was dropped as being advertised as the Metaverse Entertainment System, or MES, for the overall functionality that it offered in being a emulation handheld. So, some things changed from the initial reveal, where that it was going to be a 5G slash LTE functional product where you could be able to put in a SIM card here, but no longer does it have the SIM card. All it has is, this is where your memory card is. This is your micro HDMI. The other services that were offered for the, not during the crowdfunding, but mentioned, were the Portal XL, which was being able to dock it to your TV and use camera functionality for tracking motion, as well as having the center camera here for being able to mirror what you see on the TV. The controllers were advertised as being all LED, where that changed from being only on the QLED that had the LED functionality. And then the retro got added later, which is what they ended up offering for the emulation people. So, the other things that changed is this was initially going to be Hall Effect joysticks and Hall Effect linear triggers. They are now just linear Hall Effect triggers, and these are just standard Alps sticks, but they're like Switch style, so they're very low. As you can see, you do have the rim hits on the base because the stick itself is very low profile. The one thing about this that I was never a fan of is the separated D-pad. Not because it's a separated D-pad, but because it has a teardrop shaped design to it. Now, they wanted you to do this so you could break the controllers off and have them work for the functionality of multiplayer, as well as going into these sleeves. So that's all good and great and everything, but when you turn this thing sideways, you can see how big my hands are. I have large hands. My thumb, first joint, covers all the way to the top of the controller from the side of the button here. Your left, or your whatever you would be for buttons it would use. This is a very, very small controller. So in this manner, you're looking at less than 3.5 inches. Or around 86 inches, or 86 millimeters, sorry. And I don't know about you, but outside of kids, I don't know who could really use this sideways to be able to play games on, especially with it having these buttons so close to the joystick, and then having the other buttons on the sides that are in the way of actual movement and everything. Like, my thumb is wider than all of the buttons. This is a 5.49 inch 4K up to 144 hertz panel that does HDR color depth. The 144 hertz is only functional whenever they get VR fully operational. Currently it's a work in progress, so mileage may vary on usage for it. I believe it currently defaults at 4K 90 or 4K 72 for VR purposes, which having a single LCD or QLED, in this case, panel, it just means you have better uniformity in colors rather than trying to do more expensive two separate on there. So as you can see, you got turned itself on, select language, English and Chinese. Controllers don't work until you plug it in, so we'll go English and next. Welcome to welcome to Portal. If you already installed the Pimax VR app, please open the app and start the device, in device, and then under add device. So for right now, I'm just going to turn this off and continue talking about this device. So you have plenty of buttons on here. That's great. They can be mapped to other things, but there's currently no actual functions directly mapped beyond your Android functionality for back, home, and menu. These here are extras, and these here are start select for what would be emulation or applications, but in Android apps it just depends on if you have controller support. The other thing on this is the camera here. This is your only pass-through camera, and in this headset, do you see a place where this can go? No, because they opted to have this be a solid chunk here with this loop coming down over to lock it in. And my solution for this is very easy. Rather than have this be just a tab that loops over, have this be an open window that has the cord spot all around the window where that your rear camera for pass-through, color pass-through ADU can be utilized. This has great exhaust ventilation, but don't be fooled by your intake ventilation here. You may have all of this space here, but there's only just one fan, and it's right there. So it's great if this being open, there were actual heatsink parts under here that could channel the air towards the fan and be able to exhaust it out the top. You have on the bottom USB Type-C, and this is a 3.0 USB Type-C, so it does have PD fast charging. You're looking at about 2.5 hours to charge this 4,000 milliamp per hour battery. Downward firing speakers. Reason for this, so that they can be utilized here. Except for the fact that these are covering your speakers. I don't know about you guys, but this is not an elegant solution of a headset. Especially whenever your speakers are being covered without really any channels or porting going on for the audio. There's no headphone jack on this. No headphone jack on this. They expect you to use Bluetooth for being able to get audio through the headset, other than just using the volume that normally comes out of the headset from these bottom speakers. I mean, it seems to me you would want to have a volume rocker on here somewhere. There's plenty of room for one. Beyond this, there are issues with these controllers not wanting to charge, except for in one certain manner. And that's whenever they're connected to the portal itself only. You don't have a separate place or way of charging the controllers. Just to show you the controllers here. This right here, or I should say under here, you have a high Gauss rating magnet. Two separate parts, and this is how it interlocks into the portal itself. Pogo pins here are for data and charging transmission. How strong are these magnets? Well, if we take off the warning here that mentions these will pinch or smash your fingers. Alright, we got that out. There's two ways to use the controllers, technically three. One is, as you just saw, they go together. And you can use them like that. Technically, kind of like the dog bone or dog face controller for the Switch, where you just have the two sides go together. The other way is on the handheld itself. Your other way is in the VR controller. Here's the other problem with these on the VR controllers. They go in just fine. This one, the analog stick, is easily reachable. For people with smaller hands, you're not likely to be able to reach the right side analog stick. If these were done to where they're facing the same way, that would have made it a lot easier and more fluid to make use of. And there's your release lever right there. Because when you put it in, it's in there. Because it locks in right there. So it's not coming out now. That is a one-piece controller. Until you press the lever there and be able to remove it. As a controller, these are lighter weight like this than your Quest 2 is going to be for the touch controllers for it. But they are heavier, or I would say the Quest Pro controllers are much heavier because of the circuitry inside of them. These are a little bit heavier than the Quest 3 touch controllers. Just because the way that it works out, there's no ring on top, and the haptics and everything make it feel more lower pointed at the bottom in the Quest 3 touch controllers. Always use your wrist straps with the purposes of doing VR, just to make sure that you don't drop or hurt anyone, or TV screens, or any of that stuff. So, these, their weight is good. Controllers, battery life, you're probably looking roughly in normal use without being attached to the portal itself. Let's go ahead and show you the headset here, just because not really gotten a good look at it yet from anyone else, and I've had this for a few weeks now, done some testing on it, and I will say that the top strap is much better feeling, but it's designed after the Crystal's headset design and top strap from this point forward to here. As you can see, this is the Pro version, so there is a built-in battery. You got your cable grommet routing here. It does open up. Just plug that in right there. So the part that's inelegant is, honestly, you have a cable here. It goes through right there, and then you have to pull this over and through as far as you can just to be able to get this to mount and port in underneath there. So that's how it's just going to connect the portal itself. When you take out the front area coverage, this is to let the lenses focus. Please remove the protective film. Before use to avoid scratching the screen. And there's your screen. This is how they want you to set your portal inside the headset. And you're not going to scratch it just by putting it in, because there are, if you look down in here, little ridges of foam that's cast all the way around the edges. And then down in the bottom here, you've also got foam. Well, foam rubber anyways. Here's the bad thing though. See how closed off this front cover is? I mean, there's a plastic piece right here in the front, whenever this should be open mesh. Without all of this on there. Just so it can be able to take in air easier and be able to breathe easier. And there is a little bit of movement here you can see on the bottom. That's not breaking it. This is doing what it's not built to do. But the ways that I would change this headset is break off this front cover. I would take a Dremel, carve out here the place for the camera to be able to go through, and then I would carve out all of this venting on this plastic piece here to where it's solid open, and I would carve out the openings here for the speakers where you don't have headphone jack or anything, because this part is the issue of the design of the headset. It's this entire part. This is great. Like, it uses the crystal batteries, so you're looking at 6,000 milliamps per hour, replaceable, swappable batteries, 22.8 watt hours, 4.35 volts, lithium ion. You can see all the information there. You can buy these extra. It's the same thing, same exact thing that they use on the Crystal. I love that they thought about having a swappable modular batteries. The only way you can down it though is you have to squeeze it to get it to go lock in so it can be able to detect a charge. The sides here, this is great. Like, this is a foam rubber. It is not latex, I did ask. So there should be no allergens as far as the material. These are Velcro replaceable even. So you have multiple people using it, it's easy to get more parts and pieces. So all of the sides of your head has padding on it. And then you have these pads, you have this pivot pad here for the back of your head. And these are pretty thick. All of these pads are replaceable. Velcro replaceable. So that's something, for it being a pro headset, this back part, well designed. Front part needs work. This is also Velcro replaceable, but it's just not, I mean, it's okay for comfort, but this is not designed for anybody with a large nose. Let me tell you that right now. My nose, I can't get the headset to go on tight because my nose wants to be out here. I have a large nose, so that's one thing to take into consideration. Just for showing you the mounting. So, if you've watched any of the CES videos, you'll notice that one person actually turned the portal upside down, which was incorrect whenever they stuck it in here. And they were talking about, oh, I can see all this cool stuff in this area I can walk around in, except for they were lying and they were just describing what the person had told them it looks like. Just heads up on that. Always verify when someone tells you something. Make sure it's true. Alright, so that's as far down as that goes. You got this here. This plugs in. And that's it. Your cameras for your tracking. You got 6 degrees of freedom tracking. Are open. Them saying, oh yeah, you can have full color pass through with this whenever this is blocked. This camera right here is blocked by this shielding that is solid. Like, is not an opening there for it to go through. It's a lie. This would have full color pass through if it wasn't for this. If they could redesign this with a window that this cord comes down and around and under the bottom of the window for that to go through, that would work. Also, this cord is not an elegant solution because it does get hot over top of the vent here. But you're looking at a steel front heavy headset with this solution. Back battery does not add hardly any weight to it at all. I mean, it does have a very smooth, rubber gripped, edged turning wheel. You don't hear any creaks or anything in it. It's solid sounding. The other thing would be nice, if you can't have a volume rocker or even a headphone jack anywhere on this, why not make it DMOS compatible with your own products? I mean, you've got this point right here, which looks like the DMOS connection if you would be able to remove this cap and connect the DMOS to it for your own audio solution that you could sell with this as an upgrade to it. As like the Portal View Pro Audio Plus or something like that. So, let's go ahead, headset on. Like I said, I can't get it super tight because my nose is at the end of it right here. So I have a lot of light bleed coming through right here on the sides all the way to my cheekbones over here, which is past the nose cavity. Because my nose is so large, I can't get it to fit in there. So yeah, guys, I just wanted to provide some information about the headset itself, functionality of the design, and by the way, this tray is what it came in, so you've seen plenty of unboxings for this product before. You got your silica gel, your cables, your stickers for your controllers. And what is the biggest reason and factor that I currently can't make use of this product at all for anything related to Google and Android game development or app development? Because it's on Android 10. That's why. Doing this to your viewfinder is ridiculously annoying. Especially having anxiety from blood disease and not being able to steady my hands. It's part of the reason I've not made any videos in a long time. But yeah, guys, I know many people out there are going to tell you this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. You know, this is something I crowdfunded, I believed in, I wanted. Whenever they made changes that locked in only a black version for the QLED, you can tell mine is not black, and they took away the Hall effect joysticks for the controllers, and they also delayed everything for the VR functionality and the Android 12.0 update to be able to appeal more to emulation gamer, YouTuber, influencer people who all they do is just want to play games, and people who actually make games and purchase this for the reason of making games and getting a verified platform out of this for Google and Android. Which, that's the other thing. This product doesn't recognize on Android as a Pimax Portal. It recognizes as an LE Eco EX2 Pro, which is a device that came out back in 2016. So reusing product IDs is definitely not a way to have this product be able to get functionality and proper recognition and recognized status of a verified platform with Android and Google. Because one, you're not able to use it to do more than side load. You don't have a full options menu. Like, it's great that you appeal and primarily build your OS just for the Retroid and Ambernic and all of those INEO and everyone else type emulation focused products. But whenever you're having VR added into something, and whenever you're going through the process of wanting to use it for a general purpose Android device, like, I don't know, the AYN Odin series, then you're kind of missing out on line level security support, so you can't do any kind of streaming video apps on this beyond YouTube. No Netflix, no Disney Plus, no Hulu, maybe Crunchyroll, Paramount Plus, CW app, BBC AM, CTV, any of those. I've not been able to get any of them to work on this product. And yeah, guys, this is just a few of my thoughts and basically ramblings at this point regarding the Pimax Portal QLED and the Pimax View Pro headset. And I hope that Pimax will be able to use this to correct issues. We do already know that they have mentioned there are some products in the works to be able to fix things, like a retro controller that has an actual D-pad. But the other things for the TV dock, the Portal XL, the mini station PC, those things, you're probably looking at a little ways out past the Android 12.0 update, which is probably going to be their primary next big thing getting updated on this product. After that, I would, out of my experience with marketing and business, say they're going to try and get VR working, because I know that they are primarily a VR focused and centric company. So having VR functional would be a big boon, especially where that they also have the Crystal product, which is a very expensive headset, a $1,599 headset that also is standalone but also PC. The other thing on this is, guys, you have to have in my experience, the only way to get VR working on this as is without a specialized cable from Pimax is at least a 20-foot micro HDMI 2.1 to a USB Type-C or USB 3.2 Gen 1 cable, if not to an HDMI cable on a PC for HDMI 2.1. And it would have to be an optical cable to have any standard grade of bandwidth at that length. What I'm guessing the specialized cable from Pimax would be is micro HDMI to DisplayPort over USB Type-C 3.2 Gen 1 with a powered USB 5 amp or 5 volt extra cable, just to be able to get enough power delivered to be able to use it for VR purposes on PC. The specs on this, I mean, Snapdragon XR2. The thing that most people don't know about the Snapdragon XR2 is it is essentially almost a Snapdragon 865, except for the GPU on it is a slower clock, and the RAM on it is different in that the LPDDR5 is clocked 200 megahertz slower. So the biggest things on this that are changed in the XR2 is when you have less than full load on your 4 silver cores, you would have 2 of those silver cores combined to be an AI processing core that helps to offload physics and other things, which is what is helpful for VR. Because you have a lot of computations that go through for VR purposes that you don't normally get utilized with, general Android gaming or emulation even, is not even going to touch it. So the biggest thing this has going for it is 8 gigs of LPDDR5 RAM, and it does have the same Adreno GPU chip as the Snapdragon 855, but it has the number of cores are modified in it to be the same as the 865. So that's where they get people saying it's 865 Snapdragon performance, when it's in reality not exactly the same thing. So this is a it's quite a package, but $550 plus the $50 bonus for the View Pro headset. I would at this point wait for a functional Android 12 update, because this won't install any new game that's released in the last, what would it be, the last 6 months. So you can get side-loaded applications to run, but they won't verify on the device, so it will lock you out by region checks if you don't have a VPN running in the background whenever you're trying to run them. That's made more difficult with this device because you don't have AOSP, or Android operating system platform. So when you don't have AOSP and all of the options accessible to you for Android, and you only have a custom built operating system that takes things out that they think aren't needed for the purposes of VR or emulation, you're gimping a lot of games. You're also gimping a lot of apps. Like I said, you can't run anything with line level security 1 requirement for streaming video. You can sideload things to it. You can run things off an SD card. But as far as getting things to run natively, this is not going to play Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. This is not going to play any of the newer games like Starstride. This is not going to play anything that's in alpha or beta on Android right now that's supposed to be released that require Android 12 or 13. If you want it to play Android 12 compatible games, you're probably going to have to wait for at least a few more months before that'll be supported. But yeah, guys, that's just my analysis and impressions and feedback for Pimax, as well as for people who care about the developer's point of view within the functionality of an Android device for developing apps and games on Android. Currently, still, my heavily modified OS version of the AYN Odin Pro is the only device I have to verify platform install for Android games and apps. So, you like the video, guys? Feel free to give a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. As always, guys, I am Zybernite, your Tech and Games Crusader. Hope you guys have a good night, good day. Take care. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.